Okay.
Okay, we're on. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the May 13th, 2025 Murraysville Planning Commission meeting. Will you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Patty, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Midal?
Here.
Mr. Kearns?
Here.
Mr. Patrick? Here. Mr. Olszewski?
Here.
Mr. Lemke?
Here.
Mr. Levecki?
Here.
Mrs. Hoy?
Here.
Mrs. Ling?
Present.
Okay, we also have with us our planning director, Emily Mallacy, and our assistant planning director, Mike Wozniak. And Mike's a relatively new guy.
Okay.
Emily's been with the municipality for many years. She just doesn't want to come to our meeting, that's all. We have minutes from March the 11th, 2025. Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes as presented?
Wasn't here.
Have a motion?
So moved.
So moved, second by Ms. Hoy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay.
Hello, Miss Hoy.
We have a period for public comment on the agenda. Does anyone have anything they wish to bring to the attention of the Planning Commission that is not on the agenda this evening? No? Okay. And we have public here, too. If it's all right with the members of the commission, I'm going to change the order here and take the S-125, the Ruth Grabowski Plan number 2, because I think it's relatively simple. Is anyone here representing the applicant? Sir, could you stand up and give your name, please?
Rich Jabrowski.
Okay, this is basically a two-lot subdivision out on, what's the name of the road?
Maymont Road.
On what?
Maymont Road.
No, yeah, okay, Maymont Road.
Do we have
Plans.
drawings?
Yeah, it's in there. It's was in the Dropbox.
This one?
No, go back. Go back.
Right here.
Above
Whoops.
it, yeah, there.
It's like the second folder.
Okay, I
over.
see it. Gotcha, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just one question, Rich. Why is this odd-shaped lot here where it goes back into from lot A to lot B? Why does that go back there like that?
This is a family. It's a family property. It's been in my family for over 100 years, and it was actually originally part of the neighbor's farm.
Okay.
And back in around 1917, 1918, my grandfather bought it when the person that owned it passed away. And for me, for a family reason, we'd like to keep the properties at least someplace touching each other. And in the upper corner, there's a marker that has my grandfather's initials and my neighbor's grandfather's initials on it that is at the upper right-hand part of the property.
Okay. All right.
Where are you talking about, Bob? I'm not following you.
Well, if you look, there's like a peninsula from
Oh, I
lot
see it. Okay,
1A into lot 1B.
okay.
And that's what Rich is trying to explain why that is the way it is.
I think that's what you're asking. I think I explained.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And the only comment that the staff has is about this, the corn crib and the shed encroach upon the front 50-foot setback.
I understand the rules,
But it's existing.
Right.
and I understand that. The corn crib was built by my grandfather.
Yeah.
When I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, I helped him with it. It really was for sentimental reasons that I wanted to keep it.
Okay.
But I guess I just am not going to be able to do that.
Well, it's an existing condition, so I
Yeah,
don't know that we would.
so even though it's
ask-
non-conforming
I
because
don't know that
it's
we'd ask them
existing.
to tear it down.
No, we won't.
Say that again?
Your initial submission was the issue. This is the resubmission that Mr. Brothers did. He did address that.
Yes,
What
I
they're-
think-
What they're trying to say is that it's in the front yard technically, but it's existing, so it can stay. There's no issue.
Well, he changed that so that it would be part of the new lot that has the house on it.
Okay. So any members of the Planning Commission have any comments or questions on this for the staff or the applicant?
No?
Everything okay, Emily? Mike? Okay, Mike,
No
everything's
outstanding
fine?
comments.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of this to council.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we move this on to council with the Planning Commission's approval. It's file S-125 Ruth Jabrowski, Plan Number 2.
Second?
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
See ya.
Well, this was easy. Wait till you get to council. Okay, the other thing on the agenda is a discussion recommendation for SP 125. This is the Summerhill Phase 2, Goldie Lane. It's a simultaneous preliminary and final major land development application for 64 lots, 22 acres. Yeah, and this is an R3. We've been through this
A few times,
a few times already.
yeah.
Just a point of clarification, you have not submitted the subdivision plat yet.
That's correct. And I was going to go through that here. They're pretty much the last submission we had, the briefing that we received that you have there. A lot of the comments from the previous have been taken care of. And one of those that hasn't been yet is the final subdivision plan. We have that. I'll be submitting that next week for review for the next meeting.
For the subdivision,
Correct.
okay.
And then just to kind of go on to a couple of the other things that were there. One of the comments was relative to the environmental impact statement. We had submitted that as a preliminary. Did not have any comments on that, so we've submitted that as final. I had emailed that to Emily last week. Sewage facilities planning modules. We had submitted that to Emily and also to the two municipal authorities. Have not received assigned forms back from the municipal authorities for the sections that they have to fill out for capacity, conveyance, and treatment.
All the sewers are gravity.
All the sewers are gravity. We got rid of the pressure sewer system to do a gravity system, come down North Duane Lane and tie into Plum's terminal manhole down at the lower end of North Duane.
There was some discussion in the letter about an ongoing agreement that's being worked on. When there was a meeting with the Conservation District out there with the residents of North Duane.
Well, we had a meeting with the Conservation District to review our drawings and basically to take a look at the sediment basin that's down at the bottom end of Duane Lane, North Duane Drive, rather, I'm sorry. And then the residents had previously discussed some issues with drainage with an undersized culvert that's something like a 4-inch that's way under capacity. And meeting with the Conservation District, we've come up with a different design to put a more appropriately sized culvert across the roadway that'll drain down into the ravine behind. And then also for our erosion control in that area, we're doing a temporary sediment trap. It's got a pipe outlet on it. And we have submitted back to the Conservation District. We haven't got their review back on that, but we had coordinated that prior to the submission so that we would try to avoid another issue.
I think I had brought that up before, that sediment trap that's
Correct.
above those
Yes,
homes.
that's correct.
How's that getting discharged? You're going to
We're going to pipe it
the whole way
across,
down?
we're going to pipe it across North Duane,
Okay.
and it'll get taken down over the hill to the deep ravine that's behind the houses that are on the other side of North Duane.
Okay. Is there an existing agreement in place for that?
There's not an existing agreement in place. We'll have to work with that homeowner for that particular easement.
For the guy on the last house on North Duane.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right now, it's basically flowing across the roadway, flooding across the roadway and down through the yards through that area, so this would alleviate that situation.
Okay. Where is, the culvert is going to be actually on your property?
That's correct,
Yeah.
crossing North Duane. It'll be coming out of the sediment trap that we have down at the lower end, crossing North Duane and then discharging.
You wouldn't happen to recall what sheet that's on, do you?
We've done, since we had submitted this 3 weeks ago, we've made revisions that have gone back to the Conservation District, so that's where that's shown.
Okay,
And once we get the Conservation District back, then we'll submit revised drawings to Emily.
okay.
One other thing too, I had answered your question on the landscaping plan. We, excuse me, incorporated the Environmental Advisory Committee's recommendations on landscaping for some additional plantings around the ponds. We added the reforestation plan information to the landscaping plan that Mr. Meitel had shown you where we had put that. And then at the last meeting, one of the adjoining residents from the existing part of Summer Hill Phase 1 had requested some additional screening, if you'll remember, on the hillside adjacent to, and if you take a look at the drawings, all the way on the right-hand side, there's the 3 orange units next to the 2 yellow units. We had added additional screening trees on that hillside to help to screen him at his request.
Okay. And just for a point of clarification, the reforestation area plantings, there's a whole bunch of several hundred here, 150, 200, 300. And this size is, it looks like 4 foot 6 inches? Or am I not reading that correctly?
Reforestation plan are a lot of smaller trees. Actually, we have a lot of tree seed incorporated into the seed mix because the larger trees on that steep hillside are going to be pretty tough to be able to stake, and actually the deer will wind up browsing them. So we've added a lot of seedlings and a lot of tree seed into the seed mix to help that recover more quickly.
Is the reforestation for stormwater management purposes?
No, the reforestation is from
I
the,
didn't know if you were using it for that or.
no, we're not using it for that. That is
It's required by
essentially,
the
it's required by the ordinance for the
Right.
conditional use permit.
I'm just I just cannot read this enough
Okay.
to what
So
the
those are,
size of this.
essentially, those are seedlings
make out what
as
you're
well as
saying.
tree
My hearing
seed on the reforestation portion versus larger plantings.
It is.
So I guess it's like 4 inches to 6 inches
Correct.
size.
Seedlings, yeah.
Yeah, okay, now that makes sense, it's, all right.
Yeah. 47. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, any other questions at
The only other couple things is I still owe Emily the cost estimate for the bonding. I did submit a copy of the declaration for the homeowners association with the restrictive covenants last week.
you did
I
submit the
sent-
covenants?
Got that from the developer and that.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Yeah.
We had talked about the existing ones that don't have a cul-de-sac. Did we determine that a cul-de-sac's impossible at the end of those streets?
I think maybe I can answer that.
Say that again?
I think I can answer that. So I think it was discussed last time that the cul-de-sac, because these are private streets,
No.
a T turnaround was permitted instead of the cul-de-sac.
Okay, very good.
So sort of hammerhead.
The
Yeah.
hammerhead, yeah, and we had submitted turning movements showing basically a garbage truck would be able to make that turnaround to get out of there.
Okay.
And the, Emily, the firemen have approved the width of the street?
Yes, the fire department has approved the width of the street, and they said there's no issue with turning around with the smaller streets. They'll just, it's a back in, pull in, back out situation.
Okay. I hate this Dropbox. Okay,
There was a comment, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so what major is outstanding here?
well, if you look at your
Briefing?
briefing.
Yep.
There's some things you could argue about. If you look on page number 2, down at the excuse me.
It's really page 3.
It's, yeah, 1, 2, 3, yeah, down at the bottom. There's a question of piping the swales to avoid infiltration. They added an under drain at the bottom of the swale
That's correct.
to collect it. There is an issue of the boundary line between Phase 1 and Phase 2, which we've discussed previously.
Yes, we discussed that actually during the conditional use permit process. That boundary line is an existing boundary line that was created during the original Phase 1.
Well, that's the problem, because your original Phase 1 submission, it wasn't, you didn't do it, but
Correct, as many years ago.
it was another firm, but there was a statement on there that property line, no unit shall be within 20 or 50 feet of a property line. And then when you recorded that property line between the phases, it's not 50 feet from the buildings.
Okay.
Does everyone understand that?
Yeah,
No.
it's only 20 feet.
Yeah.
Show me where you're talking about. Or which,
Right there, the top line. is-
okay, I see.
Now, this plan, or this set of drawings does not show the existing buildings up there.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's even,
It'd be on the top right.
over in here,
A little bit
right?
of an angle is at the top
Now,
of the
you've
slope.
got it, you've got
this
it.
is an older drawing, yeah.
This is an older drawing. I assume the property line between phases is the same, but it's like, I don't know, that last unit is like, it's like right out their back porch.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, here, let me get this up. Based on a little detailed look at it, and
Yeah.
based on the scale that's provided, property line is within 20 feet of some of these buildings.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's existing, yeah.
So that property line does not really impact the top of the slope, does it?
No, it does not.
So that property line could be moved.
I would defer to Mr. Hall, but I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. I'd have to look at it. I mean, essentially, some of our grading is, if that would slide back 30-some odd feet, that would be some of our grading. So I think we would want to make sure that our plan occurs first.
I don't think that would be an issue, right? Grading
Yeah,
on it.
Mr. Chairman, again, in this little analysis, if I looked at the
Yeah.
drawing correctly, one of the buildings is 45 feet away from where the cutting will start. Another one on the far left would be 65 foot away.
So it could be moved 30 foot and not impact the grading, is that your assumption, sir?
Yeah, or the planned cut.
Okay.
Because the actual grading and slope starts even closer to the house than where the cut will start.
Okay, what are we talking about here? The property line being too close to the buildings, that was a note on the original plan, right?
Yes.
So it says nothing about grading, correct?
No, but what we're saying,
But if
what we're talking about is if we move the property line back so that it's 50 feet away, it would not encroach upon their proposed grading.
Okay.
And-
Even if it did, I would assume a grading easement could be given back and forth.
Or it can be a matter of timing, too, as to when the subdivision plans actually recorded.
Okay. So that's an issue.
So that's part of the subdivision,
That would be part of the subdivision.
which we're not talking about tonight, correct?
Right.
Right, but that's
an issue.
It was called
That was my
called
question. What are
called
the
out
major
in
issues?
the briefing. Where was that? It's on page 4.
Page 4, yeah.
1, 2,
Okay, and then the next couple comments have to deal with the subdivision. You already submitted the covenants,
That's correct.
okay. Blah, blah, blah. And then next have to deal with, dealing with the NPDS approval on the subdivision plan. You got to put the approval notes there, or signature spots. You all received comments from the EAC and Parks,
Yes.
and they've addressed them?
Yes, the EAC comments were addressed, I think, in the last submission, and the Parks comment was just a fee in lieu recommendation.
Okay. The EAC, or excuse me, Environmental Impact Study, is that marked final now? Has that been submitted as final?
Is that what you submitted on
Yeah,
Thursday?
that's what I get sent on Thursday.
Then yes, that's final now.
Okay. Do they have to do a wetlands study?
Yeah, that's.
We're doing
the
a
remaining
determination
comment.
to verify,
Okay.
and we'll submit that as soon as we have it completed.
And you're requesting a fee in lieu of, rather than providing any amenities
That's correct.
on site. And let's see. So you haven't heard anything back from FTMSA or Plum
That's
Municipal
correct. I
Authority?
just checked with Emily to see if she had received the forms directly from them, but they haven't.
Okay. And need the agreement, I guess, with the North Dwayne people.
Okay.
And the last thing that I see here at the end is the material types. You say here that the elevations will be Craftsman with stone and vinyl siding. I saw somewhere where you had,
We had submitted the rendered elevations that were
Yeah.
provided by the builder.
it would be helpful if somebody would just draw an arrow and say, this is stone, this is vinyl siding, or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, that's easy enough to
Yeah.
mark up on that.
So items outstanding would be approval from the EAC, approval from the sewer authorities,
NPDES.
wetland study,
And NPDES.
NPDES, and submission of a final subdivision plat.
Correct.
So where does the issue that you raised about the property line and all that, where does that get addressed?
I think it would have to be addressed in the subdivision plan.
That would need to be addressed during subdivision. If we were going to do a property line adjustment to shift that property line away to get what was provided, or what was noted for the original phase.
Emily, is those the only issue? Is there any other issues?
There wasn't any other outstanding issues. There was just, they had also submitted their traffic study, which our traffic engineer had reviewed and said that it was adequate with the amount of trips per day. There was no crash.
How many trips per day?
466 total vehicles per day, 42 morning peak hour and 47 afternoon peak hour.
You know, I think one of the things the municipality has to look at there is you got to do something with the stop signage up there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
I mentioned that too earlier.
when you're coming out from the plan, the vegetation that was planted with phase one, as you're looking to your left, cuts down on the sight distance. However, the speed at which people travel through there,
It's like 60.
It's a 286 cutoff.
yeah.
So they're going very,
Yeah.
very fast.
Well, somebody took out a couple of poles there.
Which was interesting because I didn't see that on the crash data. But yeah, that was within the last year.
Yeah, that was.
Really?
before-
It wasn't on
before
the traffic?
Before the wind damage, yeah, somebody.
Yeah, somebody, it
took-
wasn't that long ago, but
Yeah.
somebody ran right through a couple utility poles and knocked
Yeah,
out. poles for a while,
so
yeah.
that's not your issue, but.
Right.
We're just talking about that intersection, might need a couple more stop signs.
I think it should.
And I think that was one of the comments that one of the residents made.
Yeah, one of the remaining comments that were on the traffic study that TPD had done, they had no recommendations. It says traffic volumes are well below the threshold to require turn lanes or traffic signals at the intersection of Shirley Lane, Ramey Road, and Logan Ferry.
So they don't,
Good, let that guy go up there and try pulling out.
Yeah.
so, well, they don't, so they don't need a turning lane or a red light. Got it.
Yeah.
two stop signs.
But he did
Yeah,
not-
we don't need all that, but I
Let's go
mean,
back to the
unfortunately,
$300
PennDOT
stop
re-
sign, can we?
yeah,
We
Fortunately, PennDOT
accomplished
requires the
some
warrant
things with that.
analysis, and it's pretty hard to get that.
okay. All right, sir, is planning commission done with?
The only thing I wanted to mention is going back to that boundary line. If that boundary line is going to be moved, in addition to addressing it in the subdivision that's going to be recorded, it would have to be addressed in Phase 1's condominium
There would need to
declaration.
be an amendment to the condo documents to.
The submitted real estate would have to be revised.
That's correct.
I'll leave it to you legal minds to figure out how to do that. All right,
And then there was the issue with the agreement for North Duane Drive.
North-
yes, agreement with North Duane Drive. Now, I see there's some, go ahead, sir.
Just for my own clarification, I'm sorry I missed the last meeting, but from a grading standpoint, is it accepted practice to start these cuts so close to the buildings? To at least 45 feet and 65 feet? Is that generally accepted practice?
Well, if,
And they're not small cuts either.
no, they're not. However, I think the geotech people looked at that, and it's really rock there, isn't it?
Yeah, there was a geotechnical report that did an analysis of the slope stability up there. And with the drilling that they had done, initially the concern was the potential for red beds in the area, which are known to exist. However, with the geotechnical borings, strata that's here is all the rock above the red beds. The red beds are much deeper than that.
So just so I understand this, so the property owners that have this 45-foot distance are now assuming the liability that anybody comes on their property that falls over the hill, it's their problem, right?
That's a legal question I really can't answer.
What about that, Mr. Legal Guy?
I'm an engineer, I just do technical.
I'd have to look at that issue in more detail. I mean, generally, the rule of law is the property that's above the property below is responsible for making sure that their property doesn't fall into the.
I think he's talking about some kid or person or whatever
Falling down over the hill.
falling over the hill.
Yeah, I think it would probably be the same thing.
Well, what are you saying? It's the guy at the top of the hill or the guy at
The
the
guy at
bottom?
the top of the hill.
At the top of the hill.
So all the people up there put fencing up, that you're saying?
Or no
make sure they're-
trespass sign.
Yeah.
That would cover you.
Signage.
And if I could, actually, if you take a look at the existing slopes that are there, I mean, we're a little bit closer, but the slopes are somewhat steeper than what they are now, but the steep slopes are already there.
The other thing too, we have to remember these are condos. So, if that property is common areas, then that's the association that's responsible for it, not the actual unit owner.
But I think what Ed was saying is you're gonna move that property line so that the people that own those houses at the top now have
But again,
another.
this is a condo, so those
Okay, so they
areas
don't really
outside the
own the
unit
land.
would be owned by the association.
Gotcha. That would cover it, Ed.
Okay, I know there's some citizens out there that would like to address us. Could you give us your name and address, please, ma'am?
I'm Joanne Hunter. I live at 3838 Goldie Lane, and I'm actually president of the Homeowners Association. So,
Wait, you are who?
Joanne Hunter.
Oh, you're not on here, okay.
Let us get your
Joanne
name, rank,
Hunter.
and serial number down.
Okay. As long as I don't have to give you my age, I'm good. So, Joanne Hunter, 3838 Goldie Lane, in the Summerhill Condos Association, and I am president of the HOA. So I'll look forward to receiving what we need to do to have any adjustment to the property lines, because I agree with you, we have to make sure what liability we would have and things like that. But I would like to address a question. I just need to totally understand. If you could point out, where is this? Is it the private townhouses? I'm visual.
They're actually the closest one to talking about it, behind Mr. Fulton's property.
Okay. So I just needed to understand exactly where that was. And what I hear you saying is that you will have to present something to the association, so we would have to make an adjustment and have a legal representative from our association look at it to see if everything's,
It's an
Right?
issue, and we'd rather get it
Yeah.
straightened out now rather than it rear its ugly head, 5 years from now.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that because I wasn't aware that I hadn't gotten into that much detail about the 50 and the 25. And also, thank you for bringing up the stop signs. I was one of those people that actually turned and got slammed at one point.
Did you really?
So that's
I've had people pass me on Logan Ferry.
Yeah, that's also a really good thing to do. So other than that, I just wanted to make sure that I understood what we should expect from the
Okay.
association.
All right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm on the list.
Okay, you're Kathy.
I'm Kathy, hi. I'm happy to meet Emily. I've seen all of your comments and everything. This is kind of nice to put the name and the face together. So there's a lot of things, but I know I'm limited.
Yeah, get a speak
Kathy,
up.
could you use a microphone, please?
Hello. Okay. Thank you so much for being so thorough. I came to the meetings last year when they talked about cutting and digging into that hillside. I have a picture. It's a steep hill, and on the top are the houses. I'm so nervous about cutting and drilling there. And then they said that it wasn't red bed. It was where they did the core samples, which wasn't everywhere, but they took samples. It was the type of, what's it called, sandstone? It was just rock, yeah. But I'm still really nervous because I've walked the back of all those properties and they like drop right off into that hillside. But the real reason I had just a couple notes. I have some questions. I mean, I appreciate how much effort the developer is putting into this to try to make this work well for everybody. So thank you for that, okay? I'm nervous about the road going into the property, besides the fact that we could use a stop sign there. That road is a shared road. The easement for that road was taken before the homeowners had any say on this easement that was taken. And, I mean, we were really appreciative last summer that we were able to enter an agreement with the developer that they were going to take care of a few things that originally we were going to have to share in the responsibility. So we appreciate that. But the one thing that wasn't addressed, and even at the time I was concerned about, was an assurance bond. There are 54 units in Summerhill Phase 1. We all access one road in, and this whole new 61 units are going to be going back out the same road. And at the very end of the developing of the new section, in our agreement that we have now, they are going to cover that road that's going to get kind of beat up with all the trucks and building and all the traffic, that they are going to surface it. But here's my question. They're building 3-story townhomes, and I realize that there is a demand for that. Of course, we're kind of in a community where it was more oriented toward assurance that the road that everybody is accessing is going to get resurfaced to the point where it's usable again. And believe it, it's not in great shape now. So, I just wondered if it was possible, and when in this process could we ask for an assurance bond, just to make sure that that road could be restored back to some sort of usage. I mean, it's not in great shape, but just restore it, okay? That was one of my questions. And then the sewage, I looked at all the paperwork. I didn't see any sewage approval, so obviously we don't have it yet, and I'll ask for a copy of that when it comes. But the other question I had was, I noticed that they're offering $48,800 of a fee for the green space, and they're leaving 3 lots empty. And I was wondering, instead of the money, could we have like some sort of a recreational area for all these people? The study said that they're expecting families to be moving into these townhomes. So it'd be really nice if the green space were utilized so the younger folks could have a place to, be besides just, just something. I don't know what it could be, but I just wanted to throw that in there. And then the last thing I just wanted to say is I have a concern about that hillside being cut into for all those units and how close it is. And I really appreciate you addressing that. But is there something, you mentioned that there was a bond, some sort of bonding. Is any of that bonding to protect the community that I live in? Is there anything there that, I just don't know what that is.
They're probably lacking in that agreement, but it's an agreement that your HOA has entered into with the developer, those sorts of things. Now, as far as maintenance and paving and of the road, the municipality requires all developers to post a bond for all the proposed improvements. That would be the streets, the sewers, the water lines, whatever. That bond, and probably would include something for, was it Goldie Lane? Not Goldie Lane, it's, what's the name?
Shirley. It's Shirley Lane. When you first come in, it's Shirley Lane, and then
Yeah, Shirley, okay. So I'm sure that'll be worked out between the developer and the municipality to make sure that that's covered. I forget what as far as the slope stability and all, their geotechnical engineer, the municipalities hired geotechnical engineers. Everybody's looked at it and said, it's fine, okay? As far as the fee in lieu of, the ordinance provides for that, that you can provide a fee in lieu of, and that's up to council's discretion. And I don't know what did the Parks Commission say about that? Did they specifically address the fee in lieu of?
They just, they went with the recommendation of fee in lieu.
They recommended the fee in lieu of? Because what's happened over the years is every time the ordinance is used to require so many acres per lot or something like that to be, and so what you had all over the community, you had all these little pieces that served absolutely no purpose. It was hard to maintain. It really did, and they typically did not get used. So it's felt that better off to hold the developer's head with a gun and say, give us money.
We'll provide the recreation.
And put it into the existing parks that we have and improve those. So that was a decision made a long time ago. I understand what you're saying. You're going to have 60-some houses down there. Yeah, but the Parks Commission, it's really their bailiwick, we accept their recommendation, and it'll be up to council to accept their recommendation. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much. I mean, if it goes into the existing parks, that's great. I just was curious about that.
Okay.
Okay, so in the bonding, if they cut into that hillside and something happens to the houses above.
That's an insurance matter.
Oh, well, that's what I was just going to say.
Okay, so there's insurance. I just wanted to,
I mean, all those firms that did that are professional firms, and they
Yeah.
carry hefty liability insurance policies to cover their.
They
work.
wouldn't
So
let them
something
do
ever
it if
happened-
it wasn't
okay, well,
going to be a good idea.
That's good. I mean, it's good to know. Thank you so, I really appreciate everything.
Thank you.
For your patience.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get to this side of the room. There's a gentleman over there that looks somewhat familiar. Dennis, do you have anything you would like to say?
I've been rather indisposed since August.
Can you, there's somebody, why don't you just sit there and pass the microphone back to,
I can get it. I'm getting along better.
okay.
I've been in and out of the hospital since August to January, so I had
Oh, you got plenty of practice there.
brand new Dacron aorta,
Oh,
a new valve, 2 cardiac arrest, collapsed lung. So
good.
Glad
they've been
you're
trying to
there.
beat me down. I don't know, someone got that voodoo doll, so.
Pull the microphone up a little bit, Dennis, so you
Okay,
get,
basically, I'm on Duane Drive, and we'll be impacted by the source, and we have no idea precisely what the plans are for those sewers. I think the neighbors that we had talked to were not in opposition to it, just want to know precisely what's going to be done, make sure that the road is brought back to its configuration. I presented you with those papers on, the drain that goes across the road that, from their retention pond.
I think you've heard
Right,
tonight that's addressed.
right. And
He came in late.
Oh,
I came in
okay.
a little bit late, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, you finished with your questions?
So that was, I just want to make sure that we don't.
Perhaps the
really wanna know what
developer
the
or
agreement is
his
and
engineer can
what the
address.
plans are for the source, is basically it.
Could you explain that?
All right, it's good to see you again. No, what we've done is we met with the Conservation District out there. Our drawings, if you remember from before, we were showing a sediment trap down at the bottom, close to where that 4-inch culvert is. It's inadequate going across the roadway. In meeting with the Conservation District, what we're going to do is basically put a better pipe in there that's sized to handle the flows. Temporarily, when the sediment trap is there, there'll be a small riser that'll help to cover for erosion control and sediment storage. And then afterwards, that'll be removed, and that pipe will be across the roadway. And essentially, that drainage will then be directed down over the hill to get to the ravine that's there now.
There was a large pipe there that had collapsed over the years and that plugged up, and the road was actually getting washed out in the winter, so one of the neighbors put that 4-inch pipe in to.
Yeah, we're going to be replacing that with what's adequate, and that's under review at the Conservation District now. And then also with respect to the work on Duane Drive, when we're done with that, that'll be restored, repaved. It'll actually be in better condition than what it is now, because I know the last time I was up here, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, what are the plans for the sewers?
It's going to go down Duane Drive and tie in. There's a manhole, if you picture the S-curve down at the bottom there. There's an,
Bottom of the hill?
down at the bottom of the hill, there's a very sharp S-curve.
Yeah.
There's the existing terminal manhole for Plum is in that location, and actually there's a line, the private line goes from there behind the houses up alongside the stream. We're going to be tying into that manhole, and we'll follow up along Duane Drive with the new sewer.
Okay, and what about, a number of us have grinder pumps.
Those of you that are on the uphill side will easily be able to tie into that and eliminate your grinder. Those on the downhill side are probably going to be too low, so they would be able to tie their grinder into that instead of going to the bigger system if they chose to do so.
Okay, and I guess, is there any compensation for your, on the private portion of the road?
Yeah, we talked to you before, and we will.
Wait, guys, we can't have this.
Back and forth.
I'm Gary Hall. I'm with Summerhill Development. We had talked before about tying all the units in that will work gravity flow into the sewer line, and that's still our intent, is
Okay.
tying everybody into that line itself, getting you off of your grinder situation.
Yeah, but, a big tree collapsed and almost hit my house, and our power was out from Tuesday till Friday. I can have all the water I wanted, but it's kind of rough when you can't do the grinder pump without electric. So I look forward to gravity.
As you put the sewer in North Duane, you're going to provide a tap Y for.
We'll put the Ys in as we go past the units.
That street is gravel right now.
It's paved part way up, and then it was paved at one point, but it's in pretty poor condition. It's a lot of broken pavement and gravel once you get further up.
Okay, and what is going to be the final, after you get done putting your sand?
We'll pave it,
You'll pave it?
yes.
Okay. And is that going to be in the agreement that you're working out with these people?
Sure, we could have that in the agreement.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we'll need to do it anyway, just because of the trenching. We can't leave it with a trench with rough gravel and stuff in it, so we'll put it back to better than what it is now.
Okay. Dennis, you pay your sewer fee to FTMSA, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
People on the grinder council pay their sewer fee to FTMSA, including the former Timco property. He was hiding with the grinder council.
Okay, thank you. All right. Dennis, you're done?
I just want to make sure we get this agreement and stuff locked up, and that's...
Well, that's going to be one of the conditions of approval.
Okay.
Gentleman in the wine-colored shirt? Yeah, please use the microphone, please. Everybody hates that, but I'm sorry.
Okay, my name is John Sipple, and I live on Shirley Lane. And I've spoken with Gary a number of different times, and I think we're on the same page with respect to what's happening. And I'm a member of the HOA as well on the board. And I just wanted to make sure we all understood what was happening.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gentleman back corner? No comment? Okay. No further comments from the audience? Okay. Does anybody remember all these conditions?
I
Oh,
do.
I have a question.
Writing them down.
I've been writing them down.
I have a question, Mr. Hall.
You're going to screw me up.
There's no street lighting, and Murraysville does not require street lighting.
It is in the covenants, and Ryan Homes will supply post lamps on photocell at every unit.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Jane.
Okay.
Now, what are the conditions?
All right. Mr. Chairman, I would like to recommend that we move this on to council with our approval from the Planning Commission. And the conditions are that the municipality must be in receipt of the EAC comments. We've got to get approval from FTMSA. The wetlands have to be approved. We need NPDES permits. The final subdivision has not been done yet. That's going to need to be completed. We need to have an agreement with the people on Duane Drive for the sewer and the paving. And we recommend a stop sign at the end of the road.
At the intersection with Logan's
Yes.
Ferry Road.
And do you want to include in that one parcel, that one of the elements, that they'll look at this property line issue?
The 50-foot from the existing.
That is going to be part of the subdivision. Right, so.
Make sure that's in there.
Yeah, that's got to be in there.
Jane, we also need the approval from FTMSA,
Yep, I have that. That was said.
or from Plum.
From Plum.
The approval from Plum, too. Okay, I stand corrected.
Excuse me, could I
I thought
ask,
you did,
ask
uh,
one question,
maybe I
please,
just-
regarding the
maybe I
stop
just
sign
saw
at
it.
Logan's Ferry Road?
Yes. And we're talking about it.
We're not,
Okay.
we're not looking at this as a developer issue. We're-
Okay, I just want to get clarification.
We're recommending that the municipality
Look at
review
this.
that.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Come on, guys, you can afford a couple of stop signs.
They're $300
Buy
a
them.
piece.
Tell the municipality you buy them.
Yeah, I know. No, it's a borough road.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the process now? If you're sending it to Murraysville Council, would they approve this plan before all of this comes through?
No.
All of this has to be, the approval will be contingent upon the developer dotting all the i's, crossing all the t's, getting the final subdivision. That hasn't been done yet. All of that has to be done before council's going to say yes or no.
So would that be on the council meeting next month, or would have to wait until all of these?
You'll have to take a look at council's agendas. We don't set that.
So, but they would wait till everything was in before they would actually approve it? And you do not
most
have to
cases.
review the subdivision plans again?
Right.
Yes. That'll be another
we'll have another
couple meetings.
So even though this goes to council?
Hey, you're the ones that brought this in piecemeal.
I-
Don't give me this, Gary.
Sorry, I'm new to this. even though this goes to council, the subdivision plans will come back to you again.
Yes.
Yes.
And we get to come visit you again.
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Mr. Maital, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing that'll happen is you'll basically have a public hearing, just like we did here at the council meeting. And we do actually frequently get things referred to us from Planning Commission that recommends approval, where we approve it before everything is actually in.
Correct.
But nothing will move forward until those items are all resolved. Did I clarify that?
Understand
Yes,
that?
said it perfectly.
Perfect.
Okay, is there any other,
I made a motion.
you made a motion. Is there
I
a
got
second?
a lot of help.
Is there a second? All right, is there any questions on the motion from anyone? None. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I abstain.
One abstention. Okay.
See you
Thank you,
next time.
thank you all. Ms. Emily or Mike, do we have anything else for the good of the cause?
We do not.
Do you have anything in the hopper?
We do not.
My goodness.
Well, very early on.
Very early on. Okay.
We have a couple meetings, but nothing submitted.
Nothing committed, nothing with the golf course properties?
No.
Okay. All right. If there's no other business.
I make a motion.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. I'm really good at
Opposed?
that.
Thank you.